Is it time to bet against Haaland with the armband? Because I've got a lot of love for Son Heung-Min. Welcome to the Gianni YouTube show. Hope you guys are well. It's time to preview Game Week 5. Stats deep dive on Son, captaincy, wildcard draft, differentials. We've got loads coming up in the next 20 minutes. Don't go anywhere. But we're going to start with my top transfer target this week. Someone I'm going to be bringing in. I'm not quite sure who for yet, but Son will be coming in to my team. And there's a few reasons why. By the way, he is the most transferred in player of the game week so far. Alvarez and Maddison also getting a ton of love. And I completely get it. But why do I want Son over perhaps some of the other popular assets this week? Well, there's a few reasons. Number one, positional change. Now, we don't know. We cannot guarantee that Son's going to be number 9 again in Game Week 5 versus Sheffield United. But the way he played in Game Week 4 suggests you'd think Postecoglou would keep a similar front three. Kupsi, Solomon left, Kulu right, Son central. Richarlison also had a bit of a stinker for Brazil and missed a big chance. Son is so deadly, so clinical. So when we look at the difference between Son in the first few game weeks and look at his average position map, look at him and how wide he's been playing in the Postecoglou system. Because Postecoglou doesn't ask a huge amount of his fullbacks in terms of width, they often become inverted. The wide men, Kulu and Son, or Solomon and Kulu, or maybe Brennan Johnson when he comes in, they're asked to play pretty wide. And we can see Son feels fairly isolated out on that left-hand side. He's not too far from the touchline. Look at that heat map. Pretty close, pretty wide. That's not the position we want Son in to be scoring goals. Sure, he's super advanced, but you can be as advanced as you want. If you're near the corner flag, you don't really going to get goals there. When we look at Game Week 4 for Son, and he plays centrally, we like it very much. And he's still the most advanced man on the pitch. Unlike Richarlison when he plays centrally, because he tends to drop a little bit deeper, Son is on the last man. He's looking for runs in behind. But when those balls come into the box, often low, because they're working to Son's strengths, he seems to find the net. And when you look at the data, and we'll do more on his data on Thursday's team selection video, but this guy overperforms his XG every season. One of the most clinical and deadly finishers the Premier League has ever seen. Son has never underachieved his XG, something Richarlison does a lot, not Son. So look, number one, we like the position of Son, and we hope it stays. I think it will. Number two, we like the team he plays for and the chances they create. When Postecoglou came in, we knew this was going to be an attacking Spurs team. We didn't quite know how good they would be, and we've now got some data which suggests, well, they shoot and they've had more goal attempts than any other team in the league this season other than Brighton. So when we look at this chart, Brighton is number 1 for shot goal attempts, sure. Again, we're not surprised by that, by De Zerbi. But second, you might expect to see Man City. No, it's Spurs at 73 shots. This is all from the Scout members area, by the way. Do check Fantasy Football Scout out, and there's a link in my description if you're interested. But Palace at 3 at 69 shots. And then at 4, we've got City and Chelsea. And then off the back of that, some big names. Interesting that Spurs shooting more than anyone other than Brighton. So if they're getting tons of shots and they've got one of the most deadly finishers the Premier League's ever seen in Son, you put those two things together, you add the fact Son's probably going to be on penalties. Yeah. And also, point number 3, why we want Son this week, it's his opponent. We'll talk about his opponents in Game Week 6 and 7 in a minute, because many of you will go, do I need him because he's got some tough fixtures coming up? But let's just look at the here and now. Game Week 5, Sheffield United. What have we seen from Sheffield United in terms of defence so far this season? So again, this is a metric I like, and we're looking at the expected goals conceded here. Well, they create an XG against them every 41 minutes, Sheffield United. So they concede more chances and higher XG combinations than any other team other than Luton and Fulham. So they're in the worst 3 in terms of defence. And they're on the road. And we expect Sheffield United will be stronger at home than away. I look at all this and just think Son is an absolute must-buy for me this week. If you don't have Maddison or Son, you can just get to Mads. I like that too. I think covering Spurs attack feels pretty essential. Now you might go, but look at the fixtures in 6 and 7. North London derby. Look, fair enough. I don't think Spurs keep clean sheets in those. But will they score goals? Yeah. North London derby. Liverpool, I still think there are goals where games in which Son can score big. I'm not put off by those fixtures at all. And I still think Son and Maddison if they play well in Game Week 5, we'll get a ton of love in Game Week 6, even with those fixtures. And sometimes we obsess too much about fixtures, but look at fixtures both from an attacking point of view and a defensive point of view. Because, yeah, they're hard on paper, but that's still games with goals in. North London Derby's always got goals. So I'm not put off by that at all. As I said, I would be if I was buying the Spurs goalkeeper or defender, right? So look, that's what we have, and that's my summary on Son. I'll be bringing him into my team. I'll let you know on Thursday's team selection video who for, but also I'll give you some take on captaincy later, because I'm not going to lie, guys, bit of a spoiler alert. I am strongly considering Son. I'm completely 50-50 as things stand. Now, if you're bringing Son in, who are you selling him for? There's most of well invested in Man United and Arsenal midfielders. Which ones would I be selling? Probably not Saka and Bruno, but I do think Rashford and Martinelli are options. I also own Foden, so there's an option there too. So I wouldn't be selling Bruno or Saka this week, but the others, I think I would swap for Son. First, let's just have a look at the fixture ticker between now and, well, for the next 4 game weeks. I've filtered the ticker, and it's something you can do on Scout just for the next 4 weeks, because there's a strong chance I wildcard ahead of game week 9. And if I'm doing that, I don't need to look at 6-week tickers. So it's interesting. Like Fulham and Chelsea and Luton at the top 3, you know, we're invested in Chelsea. I think we hold. Other teams there, we're probably not looking to recruit too many Fulham, Luton players. Newcastle, that they turn for the better. And a lot of wildcard drafts, for example, will go double or triple Newcastle. Not sure I'm so committed on them because of the Champions League, but they've got history. They've got the proven pedigree from last season to know they're a very solid defence. Man United have still got good fixtures, but Aston Villa are a team I've definitely got my eye on. And Bomo still is the standout 6.5 midfielder in the game, but Diaby's going to run him close. Diaby saves you $1.5 million on Watkins as well. Knowing Watkins isn't on pens and they're both playing up front, when you look at the average position, that's central, Diaby and Watkins, both of them. It's a partnership. Diaby's the Villa forward I'm likely to be committing to very soon, but again, I'm going to give him another couple of weeks because I don't know when I'm going to wildcard. And I think when I wildcard in game week, if I wildcard game week 9, I'll definitely have probably double Villa. But I'm not sure if I'm going to commit before wildcard on him. Another player that I know would be on my game week 9 wildcard, if he's starting between now and then, would be someone like a Darwin. But again, is Darwin on my game week 5 wildcard? Well, you'll see in a minute. But the problem with Darwin is I just want to see him start successive games. And yes, he's got 4 returns in his last 2. Once as an impact sub, once starting against Aston Villa with the 2 assists, which is great. But did he play against Villa because they play a super high line and he can exploit that? Or did he play against Villa because Klopp's gone, this is my main man now? I think it's probably he's gone, you're scoring goals, you scored well in game week 3, you're my main man now. And it doesn't matter who we're playing, you're my number 9. But I can't see past the idea, I know in certain games, Klopp has looked at Hakpo as the 9, Jota as the 9, only there's been so much rotation in the front 3. Away from Salah, the left and the central spots are still probably up for grabs, despite Diaz and Darwin making a very good claim for them. So let's give, I think, Darwin a couple of weeks before we commit. But if you want to go bold and you're on a wild card, I get it. Like, it's a nice, fun, explosive pick. And by the way, for Uruguay in the international break, Darwin's been sensational again. He's playing with confidence and he's a confidence player and he's looking sharp. Big chance hog. Very few strikers in the league have big chances fall to them in the way Darwin does, because he creates a ton of his own chances. If he can nail his finishing, we say the similar about Jackson, then you'll be an elite FPL option. And Darwin's showing great signs of promise. The third pick is a little bit differential here, proper differential, and it's purely on the ticker. Hear me out, because Fulham play Luton, Crystal Palace, Chelsea, but then Sheffield United. So in the next 4, Fulham have got the 2 best fixtures they could wish for on paper. Luton at home, Sheffield United at home. And with that in mind, as an 8th attacker, if you felt like you were going to start your 8th attacker because the rotation or whatever, Jimenez is playing really well for Fulham. I know he hasn't been scoring tons, but he's looking actually quite sharp. This is the Jimenez that has been so poor in the last sort of 18 months when he was at Wolves. Since the injury, he hasn't been the same player. But I'm seeing signs of him returning to form. And I'm like, oh, okay, he's got my eye. I'm not making transfers there, and I'm happy with Archer as my 8th attacker. Of course I am. But if you want to go bold, again, Jimenez could be a fun pick. So just watch that space, and it's purely on the fixtures. And look, Fulham conceding chances for fun, but they will always have a go as well. So I'm going to show you a wildcard team, and you might go, those 3 differentials Gianni's just picked, why aren't they in his wildcard draft? And as I mentioned, they're players on my watch list for game week 5 and 6. They're players I'd probably move to in a week or two if I saw something from them. Certainly Darwin and Diaby. Maybe Jimenez, you could go straight away with those fixtures. But the wildcard draft, I think, for game week 5, I don't love it. And this is why I haven't even considered wildcarding, because I'm not completely sold it's worth a wildcard. I think most teams are still fairly similar to this. So the common themes are we've dropped some of our United and Arsenal assets. We've gone triple Spurs. We've shuffled around the goalkeepers, but then not a huge amount has changed outside of that. So let's just talk through it. In goal, I'll go Areola and I'll go Alisson Becker. I think Liverpool are going to keep some clean sheets. I quite like the fixtures, and I can't reach Trent. And again, I'm still not sure Trent's worth the 8 million. Becker, unlike other 5.5 keepers like Ederson, will get save points too. So he's then clocking up. He's got a higher ceiling than 6, which I always say is the case with Ederson. The back line, I mentioned Spurs, Doji's in, and Chilwell still, I think, offers great upside. And then I'd go Matty Cash, although I think he could be vulnerable maybe in a month's time. Moreno's been out forever, but when Moreno's back in that 11, he might go, I want a more defensive right back, and someone like a Konza could play there, and then you just let Moreno have license. So again, a game week 9 wildcard would probably feature Moreno. Kabore still probably the best 4 million option, although he did miss the last game. I think it was a sub. And then I've gone Share because I think the Newcastle fixtures are good. So Share is still in that squad. Newcastle defensive cover. Again, I could reach Trippier if I downgraded, say, Rashford to Foden. And that midfield spot in Rashford is the one I'm not happy with. The other 4 midfielders, Saka, Son, Maddison and Mbomo, pick themselves. But Rashford I'm not wed to at all, and that could very easily be Foden. Up front, again, I'm still keeping the faith with Jackson because I'm chasing fixtures, Haaland and Archer. So it feels a little bit of a boring, safe wildcard, which I wouldn't be doing myself. But wildcards are so team dependent. If you've hit the trigger this week, I get it. You probably needed to. This is just my take for those that might want to consider a wildcard. And I've been requested to do a wildcard draft by one of our Ultras members, Gucci. He's in Australia, Gucci, which is pretty cool. So when we're talking on our WhatsApp group, because that's what you get when you sign up to the Ultras tier, you're in a WhatsApp group with me and some other FPL managers, including world number 1 from last year. One of the best managers in the world consistently. He finished 215th, then first in FPL. Well, he's in this WhatsApp group as well, and he's been giving his take on Gucci's wildcard, Ali Hangarov, as have I. Gucci's gone triple Newcastle. He's gone Pope and Trippier, and he's gone Gordon. What do you guys think to triple Newcastle on a wildcard? I feel like it's too much. I feel Champions League's going to hit them. I still want to wait and see how Champions League affects their Premier League form. I don't know if these players aren't used to playing twice a week, and the draw hasn't been kind to them in the Champions League. Some huge games. They'll probably do quite well in the Champs. They'll probably do fine in the Premier League, but I'm not sure. I think we're going to see quite tight games, some 1-0 defeats and some 1-0 wins and some 1-1 draws, low scoring affairs. So maybe you could still invest in the defence, but I'm not so keen on investing in the Newcastle attack just yet. So that's the wildcard draft. If you want to sign up to the Ultras tier or the squad tier, do check out my members options. I'd love you guys to come join, and obviously prioritise all of you guys in comments and stuff like that. But thank you very much for watching the video. Likes and subscribes massively appreciated, and I'll see you.